Sorry. Thanks. My bad. I forgot about it. I was gonna go live earlier, and then I was gonna go live now, and it just started raining again. So I was trying to decide because we have a bunch of storms coming in, and I didn't know if I wanted to start it again because it's starting to storm again. Hence why I was waiting, and it just started pouring again. So for some reason, I lose this thread. It's because somehow I lost internet or electricity or something. So there's a possibility that I may be cut off due to internet or power. I don't know. It just started raining again, so we'll see. So I'm over here on YouTube. Ryan Lee TM on YouTube. It's gonna be easier for me to pull some stuff up. But hey, Samantha. But I'm gonna try to do it on. I'm gonna try to talk to you guys as much as I can on TikTok. But I'm also gonna try to actually pull stuff up on YouTube, but I don't know how well it's going to work because I've only done this like once. So hold on. Sorry, I don't know how it's going to work. And if you have my messenger, do not message me right now because I'm going to be pulling something up on Facebook. Okay, so people asked me to look into the Micah Miller situation, and hey, people asked me to look into Micah Miller, so I spent some time looking into Micah Miller. And I know people have a lot of conflicted views on it. And I know, but I'm pulling something up on Facebook and I don't need I'm not doing this. So, okay. So, people asked me to look into Micah Miller, and I know people have a lot of really conflicted views. And if I'm showing something on Facebook, it's going to pop up on there. I don't need people reading my messages. So hopefully nobody messages me on Facebook because one of the things I'm about to screen share is on Facebook, and the messages show up on the computer when I'm sharing the screen. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so Micah Miller, as you guys know, she went missing, and then she was found dead. Pretty cut and dry, right? And it went wild that her husband had something to do with it. So everybody was asking me, like, what do I think? Was the husband involved? And it is blatantly and if somebody wants to and TikTok, if somebody wants to hop in the box and give me talk about it, we can. I can't so much do that on YouTube, but I have some things I want to read you guys if you guys think that I might be off left center, left field, whatever. But this girl, her husband had been doing some really shitty things. Okay, that's absolute truth. Okay, her husband was a pastor, and he apparently had a girlfriend, and he was following her, and she was scared of him. And so when she went missing and then was found dead, obviously in the true crime era, the husband did it. Okay. So I wasn't really super interested in looking into it because it was another cut and dry case of the husband did it. You know, that's how it always is. If the woman passes, the husband did it. I mean, that's we usually don't have to go through it, okay? But it's a little bit more it's a little bit more than that because this was a cut and dry, no dispute mention of it was an unaliving of herself. She did it herself. And there has been it's the way he announced it in church. Yeah. I didn't say he was a good guy. I didn't say he was a good guy. Okay. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna point out is I wondered if you'd speak up on this. So many twists and turns, truly just sad. So he is a pastor, and I guess he's been removed as being a pastor. And his girlfriend and her performed her husband's funeral. I don't even know what that means. Um, yes, Mandy, that's what I'm getting to. So, um, yeah, it was suspicious. You know, she gets found dead, and the husband sounds like an absolute sack of shit. He's got a girlfriend. He doesn't really care what she's doing. It seemed very blasé, you know. Oh yeah, you know, my wife, she died up in North Carolina. She did it, blah blah blah. And he sounded like a complete asshole. Okay, we all know this. He performed his girlfriend's husband's funeral. Yeah, it's messy. Don't get it twisted. It's messy. But he did not unalive her. He has an alibi. And it's a good alibi. Okay. He's got witnesses. His car was I mean, like, he's got an alibi. The girlfriend had, like, they did not do it. Okay. And I have numerous things here if anybody wants to question or have questions or ask. It came out yesterday that not only did she I mean, they literally, there's a timeline where they have her leaving the house, and that she is accounted for every step of the way, and until she is no longer here. The husband, while a sack of shit, and everybody knows he's a sack of shit. Hold on, my camera's being stupid. I'm just gonna be fuzzy. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm fuzzy and I can't fix it. I'm gonna be fuzzy on YouTube. Deal with it. There we go. She did it. She did it to herself. And the thing is, people would say, well, she just got baptized a week or two prior. She had made numerous accounts and there's even one that says, if I'm found with a weaponized instrument in my head, my husband did it. Okay. But if you take a look at her video, I have her YouTube, not her YouTube, I'm sorry. I have her Facebook here, which is what I was talking about. Hey, Tanya, about having Facebook pulled up. And I'm going to try to show the things I'm looking at on YouTube. And I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to read it up here on TikTok. If anybody has any very strong feelings on this, if you're on TikTok, you can request the box. But I'm gonna try to do this. Share screen. Okay, we're going to try to do, first and foremost, I want to show this.
Whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse,
hear it. I don't
or
think you can hear
physical
it,
abuse,
so that's really not going to help.
psychological abuse, making you
because
think that this is all your
why not?
fault, or you're
But
a bad mom,
you
or
can
you're a bad
see
wife, or you're a bad husband.
I wish you
or
could.
you're,
I'm having problems with.
you're
Can you
not
guys hear
giving it
what
your
she's
all
saying? I
when
don't think
you
you can
know
hear what
you
she's
are.
saying. Let me see if I
God
can try to
hates
turn
divorce,
my sound up.
but
Oh, you can
why?
hear it?
According
Good.
to everybody I've
Okay,
asked
I
and
can't
the
hear it.
scriptures that I've found,
Yeah, I
it's
can't
because
hear
it
it,
hurts
but
people.
apparently you guys can. You can hear it? Okay.
But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
If
Hey,
you go
everybody.
to her Facebook,
I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy.
This one's important. I want you guys to listen to this one. Watch her face and
months,
listen.
Years. But I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks, just because I'm going through a lot and it's hard, and it's my cross to bear. It's the thing that God has put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it. I'm so thankful to God for a strong family and the friends that God has put in my life to be there for me at this time. I just wanted to share that my heart and my prayer is that the church would stay strong, that y'all would stick together, because the church is God's people. It's not a man, it's not a person, it's not me, it's God's people, the bride of Christ. And it's a lot of really good people in the church that that I just hope would continue on, press toward the calling, run your race, stay encouraged, stay in your word, keep worshiping. Like I can't wait to worship again with everybody, but for now I'm just worshiping with me and Jesus to God. And I don't think God would be pleased with me if I just jumped right into missions and women's events and creative
I know, honey.
directing
I'm
and
trying to
worship leading and
get
stuff, I think when your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. And I can only pray that more people will take a pause and get. I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. And that's making sure that my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Because you can't put a price on peace from God. So thank you for all your prayers and support. Know that I have to keep my circle really, really small right now. I'm used to having a really big circle, so it's
Hey, I was getting people over here on
hard
YouTube.
because I want to reach
I
out
just
to
ended it on
everybody and
TikTok.
tell you how much I love you and I miss you. But this is the best way that I know how. So I love you all. I miss you. Thank you for your love and support over the last couple years. And
I
some of
can't hear
you,
anything that's being
up to 18 years walking with me as my friends. And for right now, I've just had to put everything on pause to get myself right. And I think God's happy with that. So keep praying for me. Thank you. And
all right. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? I was talking to sorry. I was talking to TikTok. Okay, I was talking to TikTok and trying to get them over here. I can't hear anything that's being done on here because my speaker's just screwed up. Okay, so if you guys could see the message, okay, let's talk about the message for real quick. I don't know where I cut her off and I feel extremely bad, but I couldn't hear anything that she was saying. To watch that video, to hear her speak, to look at her eyes, she is extremely empty. I'm going to show you a couple of things here that, let's see, hold on. I'm going to show you a couple of things real quick. So right here it says that she posted pictures of herself being baptized in the ocean a little over a week earlier. That is something that people who are getting ready to unalive themselves tend to do. They get right with God. And said that, made sure to say it was not the one where her husband preached. She posted a video in which she discussed leaving a dangerous situation. Now people know that she had filed for divorce. And she had expressed abuse and violence by her husband to numerous people. Her church, she had filed a divorce decree, and here comes the storm. And added that Micah feared for that her husband had sent people to follow her. There was a tracking device put on her car, and I'm gonna show you guys some other things here. Hey, enough. All right. It said that Micah had stated to me on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was JP. Interesting, she chose that particular way to go out. I don't know if that was a homage, a fuck you. I'm not really sure. I think it's very, very interesting, that choice of words. But I also want to say this. She said, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was JP. Because I feel like he drug her to this. If I end up with a bullet in my head, it's because he made me do it. Not necessarily that he did it, but that he made me do it. That's another way you could think of to look at it in a situation. It said that she was hopeful for a future without him because he was allegedly abusive to her. In her final Facebook post, she posted eerie captions that hinted at potential struggles behind closed doors. And then her final photo, which I think is very interesting, was on April 9th, a selfie with the caption, when terrible, terrible, terrible things happen to you. Y'all know what I'm talking about. RPF, resting peace face. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was going to do, and she had come to grips with it. Okay. When you get in a situation where you just feel like you have no motherfucking way out, that nothing you do is going to matter, nothing you say is going to matter, nothing that's going to be done is going to matter, you can literally see When she said, I can't wait to worship again, for sure sounds like she will worship in heaven and not earth. Let me see. Now, I am getting a pretty decent storm right now. If I get cut off, it's because I'm either going to lose electricity or internet. I'm in Kentucky, and there's a lot of wild storms coming through, which is why I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. Another thing here is these are documents that were this was a document that you can't see because it's really, really tiny. Whoops. But this is an affidavit that her sister had put up. And she says, again, if I wind up dead with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was by JP. But that could be very metaphorical in the fact of, he made her do it. I'm going to try to read these. I'm going to see if it works. Okay, so I'm going to flip over to another thing. Can you guys still hear me when I do this? Because I don't know if you can still hear me. All right. Can you guys hear me when I switch out of the screen? Because I'm gonna try to. You can still hear me, okay? Because I'm gonna try to read this to you guys because it's itty bitty on here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it says that okay, support her claims against Miller and to his abuse, his character, his paramours, his mistress, and associates he paid off or blackmailed. While she was at a facility, these documents, emails, files were removed from her phone, personal laptop, vehicle, purse, and never recovered. Further, Micah was unable to access her iCloud account, email, or Facebook profile. He continued using at least one of her accounts, causing a recipient to believe Micah was communicating. And this is an official court affidavit. She talked about what she wanted her life to be like following her divorce from Miller, having traveled to a church mission in this past fall from October 15th through October 27th. She intended to participate in additional missions, even to live part-time in Kenya. She recently shipped some of her personal items to Kenya in her preparation to stay there. Her sister was, this is her sister saying this, my sister was hopeful for her future after the divorce. My sister also expressed to me that she was fearful she would not make it to the divorce and that her life would be taken from her. It is my belief, based on the conversations with my sister, that she had told multiple people, including other family members. She stated on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was by JP. She forwarded a group text message notifying us that Mr. Miller was served the divorce papers on April 25th. On April 27th, my sister was found dead as a result of a gunshot wound in Lumber something, North Carolina, and I have the full support of my family in my request to be appointed as special administrator. I take this request and my potential appointment of this role very seriously. So she very obviously had plans. Okay. She had plans. She had plans to move on. And this is why people say that, the husband had something to do with it. The husband had something to do with it. But the husband absolutely did not have something to do with it, because I'm going to try to show you this as well. I'm not going to be able to hear it, but I can watch along with it. And of course, I erased the page. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. I found it. And it's strange to me that she said, a bullet in my head, he did it, and then she chose a gun. But I'm going to show you guys something extremely. This puts a nail in every coffin right here, because this is an actual minute by minute of her last day, and they got it all on film through various things. Give me 1 second to pull this up. So we're going to pull this up right here.
Case, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office just posted all of the details about Micah Miller. Turns out that Micah did call 911. She did tell them that she was going to unalive herself. On April 27th at approximately 2:54 p.m., Robeson County Communications Center received a 911 call from a female. The caller asked the dispatcher if her phone could be located because she was going to unalive herself and wanted her family to be able to find her body. During the call with the dispatcher, the caller hung up the phone and the dispatcher was unable to contact the caller. The dispatcher was able to find the location of the caller and dispatched a deputy to the location. Upon arrival at the Lumber River State Park, Deputies and state park rangers conducted a search of the area for the victim. The search was aided by a Robeson County Sheriff's Office drone. During the investigation, a black Honda Accord with a South Carolina registration was located in the parking lot at the state park. Investigators confirmed that the vehicle belonged to Micah Miller. Investigators located a Sig Sauer gun case in the passenger seat of the vehicle and a box of ammunition in the center console of the vehicle. Investigators also found a receipt for the Sig Sauer
pay
from a
attention.
pawn
This is
shop
the
and a
line.
receipt from the convenience store in the vehicle. Both receipts were dated for the same day of Miller's death. During the search of the park for the caller, investigators were approached by an individual who found a bag near the water's edge with identification belonging to Miller. The individual stated he heard someone crying and a gunshot while he was fishing. Law enforcement continued the search, and the 911 received a call from an individual who stated that a body was located in the water. Law enforcement responded to the location and contacted the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office upon locating the deceased. The victim was identified as Micah Miller. A Sig Sauer 9mm handgun was located in the water at the crime scene during the search of the area. The serial number on the weapon matched the GUN box that was found in Miller's Honda Accord. During the investigation, Miller's phone and other personal belongings were located. A search of Miller's phone revealed that she conducted a Google search for national parks near me, and the Lumber River State Park location was provided. The investigation also revealed that Miller and her estranged husband had been separated and were involved in the legal system. This information led investigators confirming the whereabouts of Miller and a female that he is allegedly romantically involved with. Investigators were able to confirm that both individuals were not in North Carolina on the night before and the day of Miller's death. Investigators learned through interviews that John Paul Miller was at an athletic event in Charleston on the day of Micah Miller's death. John Miller's vehicle was observed traveling on Highway 17 bypass in Horry County at 2:22 p.m. on April 27th. The investigation confirmed that John Miller was accompanied while traveling to and from the event in Charleston. Tuesday, May 7th, they met with Micah's family. John Paul Miller was given the opportunity to attend a separate meeting, and Miller indicated through his attorney that he would not come to North Carolina to meet with investigators. Investigators conducted several interviews and developed a timeline of events in relation to Miller's death. At 11 a.m., Miller was observed on her Ring camera at her residence. 11:38, she was observed on her Ring camera leaving her residence. 12:12 p.m., she is observed on store surveillance walking into Dick's pawn shop. 12:13, she is observed at the register and initiates the purchase of a. At 12:34, Miller is observed leaving Dick's pawn shop after purchasing this. At 1:06, her black Honda Accord is observed traveling on Highway 501 near 4 Mile Road. 1:27, her black Honda is observed arriving at a 41 Grocery and Grill. 1:35, she is observed leaving the store purchasing a drink and gas. At 2:54, Miller called Robeson County from Lumber River State Park.
Can you guys hear?
All right, guys, we have a breaking update in the Micah Miller case. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office just posted all of the details about Micah Miller. Turns out that Micah did call 911.
Okay.
She did tell.
All right. So as you can see, there was an actual bona fide minute by minute on camera sequence of events that happened. She was seen leaving her house. She was seen buying the actual weapon. She was seen she actually had the GPS coordinates of the park in her phone. I'm going to see if I can find something really quick. Just stay with me. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Of course, I didn't, for whatever reason, do this. All right, hold on. All right, here we go. All right, so here's another one I'm going to show you guys. Give me 1 second.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see.
This is her last
You don't know
911
where
call.
you're at?
In National Park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone.
Within minutes, police came and found her.
Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing. Hold on 1 second.
There's long pauses. Just hold on. And my internet could be acting wonky. Hold on.
I don't think you are in Robeson County.
So they're trying to find her.
At the Lumber River State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute. Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
All right. So, in a lot of these phone calls, people say the same thing all the time. Oh my God, the dispatch sucks. Oh my God, the dispatch sucks. As Jalen just said, the dispatcher annoyed me. The call ended. Okay. The call ended and they got the police there within minutes. Within minutes. The dispatch did not fail. Okay. I want to, in so many of these cases, people blame the dispatcher. Okay. That dispatcher was trying to get her location. And before she could do any type of talking down, the call ended. Okay. She was doing what Micah asked, which was to get her location. Micah found out that she had the location and she ended the phone call. Okay. Everybody wants to blame the dispatchers all the time. And that dispatcher, after she hung up that call and they found her body, that dispatcher has to live with what happened. I'm sure that she absolutely was going to try to talk her down. But the call, as you see, the call ended. She didn't get a chance. Once Micah found out that they had her location, she ended the phone call. She just wanted everybody to know where she was. Exactly. There was a change. She said, "Okay, ma'am, I want you to listen to me." And the phone call ended. Okay. The dispatcher, to blame the dispatcher, and I see a lot of people doing that in that phone call. They're like, the dispatcher. The dispatcher, number one, was doing the first thing that Micah asked. Please find out where I am so my family can find my body. And she said, okay, I see where you are. And yeah, can you imagine answering? You're at your job and somebody calls and says, hey, I'm going to end my life. And can you find out where I am? And you just go into, okay, I know where you are now. If you can just listen. And she hangs up the phone. You can't blame the dispatcher. You can be trained all day long, but yeah, you could tell that the dispatcher was going to turn it into, hey, let's not do that. The police ended up getting there within minutes and the body was found in the water. So was the gun. And people are like, oh, well, I've saw everything from, well, how do we know that the girlfriend didn't, that the girlfriend didn't get on the phone? Maybe it was an AI voice. That voice was done. That voice was decided. That voice had their mind made up. Okay. If you watch the videos, the video journal that I showed at the beginning, her eyes were empty. Okay. When you are in a situation where you think you have no fucking way out, think about this. So she files the paperwork. Everybody's like, well, she filed the paperwork to be divorced. And 2 days later, she's dead. She filed paperwork, and we don't know what happened from paperwork to that moment. He could have gotten a hold of her. She could have realized that her life was about to take a whole nother fucking turn. She was going to have to fight him in a divorce. She was going to have to fight him for property. She was going to have this fight in her. He was already stalking her. He was already putting trackers in her car. He was already taking her iCloud, her Facebook. There was nothing left. He drove her to this. She, you try to have this positive outlook. And she was, people made up the comment, well, she stopped for gas and a drink. Obviously, that's not what she had intended. She made sure she had gas to get to where she was going, because she was driving around, and she literally put in, park near me. She was driving around. She didn't want to run out of gas. She got a drink because she was probably not deciding. She hadn't, she's like, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Am I going to do this? I'm going to think about this. And in her head, I'm sure she was. I'm sure from the text messages that she had put, to the conversations that she had, to the last photo that she put up, which I showed you guys. She said, when something terrible, terrible, terrible happens, resting peace face. She had come to the conclusion she was done. If he could do all of this before the divorce, can you imagine how ugly it was going to get during the divorce? After the divorce, she had filed for things were coming out after the fact. Yeah, he was a bad guy. He was doing bad things. He was doing all the things that would set something like this in motion. She had to come to Jesus 2 weeks prior and got saved. People do that. People start giving away their items. They start making right with God. They start doing things, and anybody who did not look, I just started watching this literally yesterday, and it was evident to me that this girl was done. She said if he was to die, that he would do it, and they really, really need to investigate him to the fullest extent. Did you just come in late? He had an alibi. She was seen purchasing the weapon. She was seen her 911 call. There's nothing for them to investigate with him. No, the police were there. I had the time frame. The police were there pretty quick. The police were there really quick. And there was a guy there who said, a witness that was fishing, and he said that he heard somebody crying and then a shot go off. Not somebody screaming for help or anything like that. He said that he heard somebody crying and heard a shot go off. Why get ready for work? Why make plans to get her hair done the day before, unless she was trying to make it look like he did it? Well, she did say if somebody puts a bullet in my head, he did it. I mean, nobody's going to ever know what was in her head. Okay. Maybe she had a plan and she didn't know if she was going to do it. Maybe she had a plan. Maybe she wanted to make him look like he did it. I don't know. None of us are ever going to know. But, but at the same time, I just showed you a video where it accounts for every moment of her day. Shows her leaving her house, shows her purchasing the gun. She purchased it. She looked for the area she was going to go to. She called 911 asking to have them find her location to make sure that they got the body. They have her every step of the way. He didn't bring the gun to the location. She purchased it. They have her on video purchasing it. Well, maybe she did it for protection. Maybe she did not sound in duress or scared or nervous when she made that phone call. She sounded done. She sounded fed up and done and dejected and over it. So, yes, he had pushed her to a brink. And she was trying to decide, hey, do I move on? Do I move to Kenya? Do I get out of this? But divorce can get really fucking messy. Divorce can get really fucking messy. And he's a big wig in the church. People are going to side. People that you don't even think are going to side with the other side. I've been through that. People that, to put this in a perspective that maybe some people will understand, we've had family members witness what happened to me. Witness, be there, see with their own fucking eyeballs what I went through. And after a few magic words, believed the other person. When you get into things like divorce and you are having to you have to take sides. Are you on his side or are you on her side? And people start changing sides that you never thought would change sides. It does something to you. It does something to you when you think that you have family and friends that care about you, and suddenly they're like, you know what? I believe so and so. You don't lose just your significant other. You don't just lose that one thing. You lose family and friends that you never thought in your life you would lose. You get to a point where you've lost the person that you love and cared about and was married to, and you're going to lose that. And then your sister or your brother or whoever says that they're not going to back you. They're going to back that person. You lose them. You're fighting an uphill battle of having to prove that he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that. And it already showed that he had gotten into some of her stuff and erased the evidence. She's got no evidence. It's he said, she said bullshit. And when you have to go up the uphill battle of he said, she said bullshit, it sucks. As a person who's been there, it sucks. Even when you have all the proof in the world, even when you have people eyewitness that shit, see it with their own eyes, be there when it happens, and still they don't believe you. I was pushed to that point at one point. I thought about doing the very same fucking thing she did. I was in that I am alone, nobody's believing me. There was a point where, my husband would believe someone over me because he was only getting portions, he wasn't here, he didn't know. He believed me, but like to what extent? I don't know. There was other people that was there that believed me, but like to what extent? I don't know. And you feel like nobody believes you. You feel like you have nobody in your corner. When I was going through what I was going through, it was hard because you're in a fishbowl. And you and the person with the problem are in the fishbowl, and everybody's outside of the fishbowl. And they have stakes in both part of the game. For instance, I'm going to take a fictional person here because I don't want to put myself too far into this. We'll say Gina is outside the fishbowl. And Gina knows me and Gina knows a person. She knows both of us. Okay. And Gina knows both of us and she loves us both dearly. And she sees that there's a situation coming at hand. And you have to pick. Do I pick A or do I pick B? Because this is going to get messy and I can't support both people. So now Gina has to decide. And when Gina picks person A or Gina picks person B, whatever person Gina doesn't pick is going to feel very alone. Okay. I've been there. I've done that. I've gotten the postcard. I've had people who have seen this and still done shitty stuff. So I can only imagine when she is doing this uphill battle of she's got proof that he's done these things to her, but he's erased some of the proof. When you're in a group of friends and the group of friends gets all confuddled and, am I going to believe him? Am I going to believe her? He was my friend first. And, I like you, but he was my friend first and I'm going to believe him. And when you're already losing one person and then you lose another person and you lose another person and you're going to have to go through this uphill battle by yourself, it pushes you to a place where you're just done. And I went into this and I'm like, okay, obviously it's another, a wife disappears, husband's a sack of shit. He had something to do with it. And then I heard the 911 call. I watched her on these videos looking just void of emotion, just completely void. And I'm going to show you guys that again if I can find it. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys this one more time. Hold on. Hold on. Why is this not working?
See, a couple past weeks, months, years, but I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks, just because I'm going through a lot and it's hard and it's my cross to bear. It's the thing that God has put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it.
She didn't want to be a burden.
God for a strong family and the friends that God has put in my life to be there for me at this time. I just wanted to share that my heart and my prayer is that the church would stay strong, that y'all would stick together, because the church is God's people. It's not a man, it's not a person, it's not me, it's
she's done.
God's people, the bride of Christ. And there's a lot of really good people in the church that that I just hope would continue on, press toward the calling, run your race, stay encouraged, stay in your word, keep worshiping. Like I can't wait to worship again with everybody, but
right there.
For now, I'm just worshiping with me and Jesus.
I can't wait to do it again.
To God. And I don't think God would be pleased with me if I just jumped right into missions and women's events and creative directing and worship leading and stuff. I think when your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. And I can only pray that more people will take a pause and I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. And that's making sure that my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment.
Making
just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Because you can't put a price on peace from God. So thank you for all your prayers and support. Know that I have to keep my circle really, really small right now. I'm used to having a really big circle, so it's hard because I want to reach out to everybody and tell you how much I love you and I miss you. Right, this is the best way that I know how. So I love you all. I miss you. Thank you for your love and support over the last couple years. And some of you, up to 18 years walking with me as my friends. And for right now, I've just had to put everything on pause to get myself right. And I think God's happy with that. So keep praying for me. Thank you. And I love you. I'll be praying for you. God bless you. Bye.
Don't tell me that wasn't a woman who had made up her mind. That was a woman who made up her mind. She was done. She was 100% done. And as you guys know that I can read pictures and read video. And for those of you that don't understand the things that I can do, that I found out that I was able to kind of be blessed with doing, the things that I read while watching that. You could read in her eyes and her body language and the way she was fidgeting and looking around, and her voice was breaking and she was looking down, and it does hit close to home. I know many a times I've spoken and looking off to the side, you watch her eyes over here because you're searching for things you want to say without saying them. And you take breaths and you break and you stop yourself and you restart. And she was done. She was done. And I've been there. I've had that conversation. That video, when I saw that video, that's what did it for me. That's what did it for me. Yeah, there was a lot of statements that she made within that. Things like, I can't wait to worship again. And I've kept my circle small. She couldn't trust. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Keep moving on. I've made, there was so many things that she said that to watch it, you'd think it was moving on in a physical sense, but it was making peace with what was to come. There is another one that she did a couple days after that. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Yeah, her voice is just, it's gone. The entire time that she was doing that, she was trying extremely hard not to cry. Extremely hard. I'm going to show you guys another one here in just a second. It's 2, 1. I can't hit the button yet. All right.
Situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're
watch your eyes.
You're not giving it your all when you know you are.
Things that she's been told.
God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
Those things that she was saying, those are things I could tell those were things that were said to her. I don't even know her, and I can tell that. She was coming. I think this was a very long time coming, and I think she was really, she had filed for that divorce that was put into her head that was so bad, so bad, so bad, so bad. And I think she was having a hard time coming to grips with the fact that she was wanting a divorce, that she wanted out, and she had no other way out. And once she filed that paperwork, she may have felt like, you know what? Maybe it's just such a sin, Sorry. As a person who has spent many, many years feeling like a burden, reading that was kind of, sorry. When you feel like you're a burden on anybody, whether it's your family, your spouse, your mother, your daughter, in the first video, she was talking about how it was her cross to bear, and she didn't need to bother people with her problems, that her circle was good to stay small. When you spend any portion of time feeling like a burden, the only way to not feel like a burden is just to not be here. And you can have every person in the world tell you you're not a burden. But as a person who's always felt like a burden, it don't matter how many times somebody tells you that. Me and my husband have gotten into arguments because I will feel like a burden. I felt like I was my mother's burden. I felt like I was my husband's burden. I felt like I was my daughter's burden. And it gets to a point where the only way that you know not to be a burden is just not to be here. I never thought when I looked into this particular case that I would see so much in it. Watching those videos and seeing the way that she phrases things and her body language and her wording and her pausing, she was pushed to a place. Stop it. She was pushed to a place that a lot of us have been to at some point in our lives. And some of us live through it and some of us do not. She made what she thought, probably very erroneously, the only decision that she thought was going to be good for everybody around her. Because if she went through that divorce, people were going to have to pick. She was going to have to lean on people. She was going to have to be a burden to people. She was going to have to talk to people and make them feel some kind of a way, that her choice in going through with a divorce that was told to her was not okay and not godly, that she was going to be looked at, blamed, judged. And I mean, I get it, because when we're in pain, we make decisions that aren't the best at the time. A lot of us make really bad decisions, whether it's what she did or lashing out or blaming yourself or anything else. Random, thank you. I'm so happy you're still here. Everyone who has ever questioned if it was worth it to keep fighting, I'm so proud of you for still fighting here with us. You know, I think we all get to a point at some point, and if you haven't gotten to that point, awesome, and I hope you never get there. But we all, I think all of us at some point in our life have a trial or tribulation that we just think we are not going to get through. Like, this is going to be it. This is going to be the one that takes us out. And I've been there. I've been there. I've been the one that was pushed to that point. Felt like that burden. Thought that me just not even being here would just make it easier on everybody. Nobody would have to pick. Nobody would have to be upset. Nobody would have to deal with the ramifications of what I didn't ask for fucking anyway. So I get it. When I seen her, it made a lot of sense, you know? So unfortunately, as bad as it is, she did do this. The husband did not. He has an alibi. The girlfriend has an alibi. They all have alibis. But that doesn't mean because they weren't in that park that they were not to blame, per se. Everything that he did to her is what put that gun in her hand. He didn't have to pull the trigger, but everything that he did pulled that trigger. So he's not going to be held liable in a court of law. He didn't take her life physically. He didn't take her life physically, but he took it emotionally. He took it spiritually. He took everything from her that gave her the will to live. So he may not have injected the bullet that took her life, but he ended her life. He took everything from her that she had. Every happiness, every joyful moment, every portion of security, every portion of stability. When you go to do a divorce, and we can put this multifaceted across any avenue. When you end a relationship of any kind, whether it's with your spouse, your child, your parent, your friend, things end. Relationships end, stability ends, security ends, and you lose what was once something you were sure of and cared for. Yes, exactly, Tanya. That's where I'm going with it. To me, I see it this way. He took her life from her long before she took her own from her body. That's exactly it. He essentially drained her will to live. So he's going to have to live with that. Now, do I think that's going to affect him? Probably not. Should it? Absolutely. Because he didn't have to do the physical act, because she was gone. Those eyes were vacant. She was gone. She was merely going through the motions of being here physically. You could tell emotionally and spiritually and everything else. She was gone. I don't know if they had kids. I didn't get very far into it. I started to look into it, and it had just dropped that there was a whole thing putting her where she needed to be, that he had an alibi. I listened to the 911 call. I watched the videos, and that told me everything I needed to know. So I didn't go a lot farther into that, but she did say that, she wanted her family to be able to find her. Because even in that, I want you to say that too. I want you to understand that. Even in her last moment, she didn't want to be a burden. Even in her last moment, she didn't want her family worried, wondering, searching, questioning. In her last moment, the last thing she did was say, "Hey, I need you to come find me afterwards so my family doesn't worry." And that tells you that that woman was a beautiful person inside and out who always thought of people before she thought of herself. Because her last moment was trying again to not be a burden. And it's so sad when people that are beautiful like that have their life taken from them, because those are the people that we need here. Those are the people that we need to grace ourselves with. Because even in her last 5 minutes of life, she was busy trying to make sure that everybody was taken care of. You know what? Here I am. Come find me. Don't worry about me. Don't search for me. Everything's okay. I'm here. I'm right here. Just come get me. You don't have to search. You don't have to worry. You don't have to question. Just come get me. It's okay. I'm right here. I don't know. I mean, honestly, in the end of it, in the end of all of this, I don't know. It's almost worse. Weirdly, I think it's worse. I think it's worse because she was killed twice over. If this had been some jealous asshole husband who took her life, and it would have been tragic. It would have been tragic. She was a beautiful soul, and he would have taken her life, and it would have been tragic. But it's almost worse, I think, because she was killed like a few times over. He killed her spirit. He killed everything in her, and then she just finished the job. At least if, and as macabre as this is going to sound, her last moments of being taken from somebody who betrayed her would have been awful. But your last moments of knowing somebody betrayed you and now feeling like a burden on top of it, it's a much more prolonged, sad death, because it's lengthened and it's more involved and it's harder than it would have been had he just done it his damn self. In her last, she was worried about giving them closure, 100%. I think that she went there. I think she went there knowing what she wanted to do. I think she went there to reflect on if it was really going to happen. And I think she just realized, you know what? I got nothing left in me. I got nothing left in me. So I do believe that as well, Tanya. She was at peace with her decision. She was at peace with her decision. She did give her life to God, and she was just an empty soul walking the earth at that point. I think at that point she'd rather be with God, that she had built a relationship with, that she felt loved her, than to be stuck in an empty vessel wandering the planet, feeling like people on earth didn't care. She had just done the whole baptism thing a week or two earlier. I agree that the mental torture he put her through was probably much worse to her than death. Just living, when you just live in days and hours and minutes of torment of everything, just feeling like everything's your fault, nobody cares. It sucks. Yeah, to her, God was the only person she wasn't a burden to. So why not go be with him? So I think, people that want to make this worse than what it is, or different, not necessarily worse, but different than what this is. He did not take her physical body away. He just took everything else away. She just finished the job, essentially. There was nothing left at that point other than a physical vessel. So while he didn't do what everybody thinks, which was take her physical vessel away, he did everything else. So and again, I think that's worse. Walking around feeling that kind of way about yourself, about your situation. That's a hell that you just want to escape. And I think she wanted out of hell and she wanted in heaven. May his nightmares be hellish and her voice haunt his every waking moment. I don't think they will. Not for a long time. I think at some point, probably years down the road, not now. He doesn't seem like he gives a shit right now. But I think at some point down the road, it's going to hit him. And he's going to realize he is the reason that this happened. I don't know how, even when it hits him, I don't know if he's going to be able to accept what he's done. He may even blame it on her. Well, she was weak. She couldn't handle it. She blah, blah, blah. She took the easy way. All the stupid shit people say. But let's be real. If she wasn't going through the things that she was going with him, this wouldn't happen. If he wasn't, putting tracking devices, and he wasn't, she said that he had groomed her. She said that he had done all these things. And if he wasn't there to have been the catalyst, then none of this would have happened. He said that he got the call, that they called him, that she had been found or something. That's what I had read. Yeah, he already was saying, I actually have that on here too. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think it's in this one right here. It might have been in a different one. Hold on. Here it is. Here we go. It says, to help you guys right here, I got a call late last night. My wife had passed away. It was self-induced and it was up in North Carolina. She had struggled with suicide before. Each time we would help her through it and take her to the doctor. We got through it and everything was fine. She even gave a few testimonies here at church that we have on video. She battled suicide, but God took care of her and got her through it. He added she wasn't well mentally and was in need of medicine that was hard to get to her. He never mentioned her by name. So yeah, he's not taking all the accountability in the world. That's for damn sure. But he said that he never mentioned her by name, but that could also be sometimes not naming people is because you don't want to give them the power of the situation. And I think he realized that by naming her and that was giving her that I can't explain it in words, but A lot of the reason she wasn't on meds, I feel, is probably because he told her it was bad, just like he did with the divorce. Very possibly. There's a lot of people that believe that psychiatric medication is not okay to take. But he wasn't surprised and then hosted 2 services at church before telling the congregation. Maybe he needed time to get through it. I don't know. None of us know. He has another girlfriend that moved right along with his life. Yeah, people do move on. He's a shitty person. There's no nothing in this that doesn't say he's not a shitty person. Weird to mention they have the testimonials and video to me, but I guess he's just mentioned it because I think it's to say in my mind here, and I don't know, but in my mind, it's to say, hey, look, there was a history of this. It wasn't just because of me. There was a history. She was going to do this anyway. I don't think he wants to take accountability of his part of what this is. When a person already has predilection to be that way, eventually there may be a straw that breaks the camel's back, and I don't think he wants to realize that he was that straw. Does that make sense? But yeah, all the ideation was there, but that doesn't mean that it was going to happen, and because he was the catalyst, he was the reason it happened, and I don't think he wants to come to grips with that. He's not ready to understand his part in all of this. And that may be something that he's fighting with himself internally. That may be something that he doesn't even realize yet. I think he will eventually, but they had been separated for a while before this happened, from what I understand. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I don't know. I mean, the fact that he had a girlfriend would say that, but then again, he could have been cheating on her. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. That's all I got there. On March 22nd, she posted a video in which she discussed leaving a dangerous situation. She was a stepmother of 5 and had expressed the abuse and violence against her by her husband to others, including family members, members of the church congregation. So, in September, they separated because she stopped taking her meds when they separated, supposedly. Well, that's never a good idea. That's never a good idea. I heard his message to the congregation when he stepped down, and I think that he'll play the victim for a while, or try to at least. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunately something that people do once they cause that fucking hurricane, that problem, they're the victim. They're the victim. And I've experienced that myself. They come in like a fucking wrecking ball in a goddamn hurricane, dump everybody's lives upside down, and then they're the victim. And some people will eventually see what they did, and others won't. Others never will. They'll never ever think that they were that straw. He said he did not want it spoke of outside of the church doors. Well, that's a great way to silence somebody. God forbid somebody get to talk about their abuse. It is easier to play victim. It's a lot easier to play victim than to take accountability for what you do. You know? And now I'm sure he's had conversations where he's going to be like, and now look, now I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Well, luckily for you, you can replay it. Luckily for you, you can replay it. That's the whole reason I do YouTube live, so people can go back and enjoy them later. But kind of glad I shut off TikTok, to be honest. It's kind of annoying to have to look up and down and up and down. And within 6 minutes of me being on there, I'd already gotten a harassment and bullying, and I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over being told to shut up. I'm over being told that I can't talk. And I'm glad that I have a platform that I can actually express things and talk about things without petty people trying to shut me up every 5 seconds. So there just comes a time with everything where people just want to fucking snap. Well, I feel like, and don't whatever, but I feel like this is something that I feel you should go back and watch, because I feel like hopefully we've encapsulated who she was as a person, and she was a beautiful person. She was a beautiful person that was robbed of everything, and she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to feel like that was her only way out. So, that being said, sometimes we look for things that aren't there. Sometimes we want to blame people, yeah, he was a sketchy guy. Yeah, he was awful. He was horrible. He was abusive, but in the aspect of the law, he didn't kill her. In the aspect of the law, he didn't kill her. In the aspect of everything else, he killed her, because she was dead long before she killed herself. And the fact that she basically died twice makes it even worse. This is why I tell people, careful what you say or do. You never know what anyone is going through, and you don't want to be someone's breaking point. 100%. I watch your lives on replay at least 3 times a day. Click the ads. Watch the ads. I found out yesterday that you have to watch the fucking ads. Help me out. Yeah, he is disgusting. And I hope that one day it weighs on him that he is the reason. I just know people like that, and they will never, ever, ever take accountability that they are the ones that caused the problem. Yeah, Starwink, that's because I have to roll them. Unfortunately. That's kind of how I get money in my pocket. Sorry. But the one thing I can say is, again, it speaks volumes that the literal last moments of her life were spent making sure that her family knew where the hell she was, and that they could find her and not have any questions, have to do search parties, have to wonder, have to question. That she's literally spent the last 5 minutes of her life saying, okay, look, I'm doing this. I need you to let my family know where I am. Don't let them worry. Don't let them search. I'm here. Just let them come get me. And I mean, that right there to me is, I guess, the best way that we can remember her, is that she, even in her last moments, was more caring of others than she was of herself. So I am going to do a very small video on TikTok, since I got my live interrupted, but I'm going to do a small video, small tribute video to her, because I think that she deserves to be recognized for the beautiful person she was. And that's what she was saying too. Random is that's part of what she was saying, is when they met and he groomed her at 14, that made her that made child abuse and assault survivor who happened to marry her abuser due to his being a pastor, and it was not viewed that way by many, but that's what it was. That's what it was. And that, she was trying to bring that to light. She was trying to talk about that and say that, and it just wasn't resonating with some people, I guess. So It's 9:36. I'm depressed now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live. I hope that we can all take some time tonight, say a prayer for her, that she has found the solace that she was looking for, the joy that she was looking for. Remember her for the beautiful person she was, and know that there was other options, but she just didn't know that. So just when you're going to bed tonight, maybe have a thought or a prayer in her direction. So, but thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to get off of here. I'm gonna try to go de-stress, play some video games. If you want to come catch me over on Twitch, Ryan Lee TM on Twitch, I'm gonna get off here and just try to go do over that. So I am gonna make that shirt, by the way. I am. But yeah, so thanks for everybody for showing up. I appreciate you all as usual, and be good to each other.